All right, in this TCPEA video, we want to look at the T-PESS Standard 4, which relates to school culture. And Standard 4, when it goes through, talks about the principal is responsible for establishing and implementing a shared vision and culture of high expectations for all staff and students. So when we look at what this means, we look first at Indicator 4.A, which talks about developing, implementing, and sustaining a shared vision of high expectations for all students and staff. Ultimately, this means a number of different things. First of all, there is you need to demonstrate that belief through words and actions that teachers and staff have an impact on there. But in many ways, you also want to make sure you put your faculty and staff where they can be successful. Everybody has different skills, and we want to make sure we take advantage of those when possible. We also want to make sure that to what extent possible we can get everyone involved and on board with the vision of the school, which means that your stakeholders are going to be a part of the overall development of that vision. The principal needs to make sure they set a tone for continually looking for ways to improve and finding and collecting data to be able to determine what needs to be improved. And of course, as always, principals need to make sure they're visible, because being visible and out there and talking to individuals is one way in which he or she communicates what needs to be going on and what's expected in the school. Indicator 4B discusses that the principal establishes, reinforces, and monitors clear expectations for adult, staff, and student conduct, including social and emotional supports. And that's one of those things too. When we talk about being visible, being out there and talking to students, many times you can help determine some needs, especially social and emotional needs, and can work on developing those as well. But the principal is going to have high expectations across the board, academically, socially, wants that for both students and teachers to make sure that they are performing at their best. And the principal also wants to look at ways to make any procedures better. If there's something that's not going well, don't just keep doing it because that's always the way we've always done it. We want to make sure that we take advantage of any kind of data that indicates there are problems and tweak things to make them work better. And then, of course, the principal is going to consistently communicate those expectations, and they do it through whatever memos they send, by how they show up in the classroom, by how they model. There are any numerous ways, and the communication is not just verbally, but also through the actions of the principal. In Indicator 4C, the principal purposely engages families and community members in meaningful student learning experiences. And so we have talked previously about building those relationships on before we need it, but a principal is going to communicate and connect with parents and community members, let them know what's going on, make sure that they are well informed about what the school is doing. The principal also needs to develop cultural awareness, look at the different groups and what they find valuable, and take advantage of that when they can to help promote student achievement. And also, traditions that support student achievement, we want to make sure that we continue with those and support those whenever possible. In Indicator 4D, the principal creates a safe school environment that ensures the social, emotional, and physical well-being of staff and students. And ultimately, when we talk about the highest priority that principals have is to make sure that everyone is safe, and that includes teachers and students, and put procedures in place to make them feel as if they are safe as well. And part of that, by putting those procedures in place, is that they oftentimes feel very supported too. So one of the most important areas right here that a principal has to do is here in Indicator 4D, which is making sure that everything that is taking place in school is done in a way that is safe and supportive, and that means both emotionally safe as well as physically safe. And Indicator 4E, the principal applies a variety of student discipline techniques to meet the behavioral and academic needs of students. Bottom line, you're looking at the discipline management plan. You want to make sure that it is used fairly and consistently. And frankly, just like is when we talk about classroom management, when you look at campus management, if you handle it properly and use the resources well and take advantage of what you have, you put procedures in place that limit the actual need to actually follow through with a discipline management plan. So you need to make sure you have good campus management to try to limit the need for discipline. And ultimately, what you want to try to do is keep students engaged with instructional issues as much as you possibly can. So you want to protect that instructional time. Now, where they find evidence for this standard, any number of places, certainly campus improvement plan, teacher retention data, student discipline data, school safety plans, community partnerships, stakeholder engagement activities, stakeholder surveys, and then anything else that kind of fits into that area. You need to make sure you keep that in place so you can be able to talk about that when the evaluation time comes. Now, at TCPEA, we're all about trying to prepare administrators for whatever challenges they're going to face. We invite you to join us today, and you can do that at tcpea.org.